Welcome to Out of the Blue, the podcast, where real people share powerful stories of resilience and transformation. I'm your host, Vernon West, joined by my son and co host, Vernon West III, an artist, singer songwriter, and the creative force behind our logo and theme song. Our guest today is Sal Baglio, a singer, guitarist, and composer, best known for fronting the legendary Boston band, the Stompers. Sal's journey has been anything but ordinary. After decades of success, he hit a season of loss, depression, and uncertainty, unsure of who he was without music. But then, out of the blue, a phone call came from Hollywood, changed everything. Sony Pictures wanted his song American Fun for an Adam Sandler movie. That moment reignited his spirit, lifted the Stompers into a new era, and reminded him why music is still the best medicine. Now, as a solo artist, Sal continues to create heartfelt, powerful songs, carrying the impulsive joy of his past hits while reflecting deeply on where it all began. His story is one of resilience, rediscovery, and the healing power of music. Hi, Sal, and welcome to Out of the Blue, the podcast.
Oh, thank you. It is wonderful to be here. Good to see both of you.
It's so good to see you.
Yes,
You
welcome.
look like you should be in our house. I have similar doors.
Yeah.
Well, let's start at the beginning. Let's start when you started, when you think something out of the blue happened that you can remember and talk about that started this wheel turning in your life and led to other wheels, to other things happening, other out of the blue events. What's the first one you remember, the most powerful one, maybe? How's that?
Wow. Yeah, I guess there are a few, I was trying to connect this particular one to music, which has been an important thing in all of our lives.
Right?
You know, um, you know, uh, you probably feel the same way. I don't know. And when I say you, I'm talking to both
Yeah,
of you.
the collective you.
Music. I didn't make a decision to be a musician.
Right.
It found me, of which I'm very grateful for, at a young age. My father was a musician. My grandfather on my mother's side was a musician, and there was a lot of music in both sides of my family. And I was born, and it found me. It found me before I could even clearly understand it. I loved what every time I heard something on the radio, on the record player, it transported me somehow, uh, and I connected to it. So, when I saw the Beatles in '64 on Ed Sullivan, that sort of uh, put gave me a direction. Well, I want to do that. But
Exactly.
I already was in love with music, and it had already taken me and decided this is what you're going to do. I never dreamed in my life I would ever do any other job other than music.
I love that.
And I'm very, very lucky and very blessed that I had been able to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes things got a little thin,
Yeah,
and
of
a little,
course. It
I
isn't
was
all a bowl of cherries. Put it that way.
no, no, no. So, but most of that time I was a single guy, and I lived at home for a long time, in the
What is
three
it?
decker in East Boston, you can take the second floor, that type of thing. And then uh later, you just you make ends meet. Anyway, the reason I wanted to talk about that a little bit with you is to let uh people who don't know me know what the connection to music is with me. uh it's almost, and I bet both of you feel the same way. It's almost, you can't really explain it, and you can't describe it.
You can. It's almost like it's like an out of when the musicians. I feel like are familiar with out of the blue. I mean, every time I've ever, asking you this: when you write a song, It comes from out of the blue, doesn't it? I mean, where does it come from? We don't know. But I used to say that it's like I used to say out of the mist, like there's a mist and then starts to take shape, and then I go, oh, let me grab that, and you start to make it into something. But
Absolutely.
it's really out of the blue. I mean, it comes from that great out there, which we don't know. That's what we're investigating. That's the
Yeah,
phenomenon that we are celebrating, even in this podcast, is this thing that called out of the blue. Because I think it for musicians, we know very much that we live on that. I mean, that's the inspiration. That's where we write songs. That's where we live. We deal with that a lot, don't you?
absolutely. And I agree with you 100% about that's how I write anyway. I write I- it's almost like I can feel it a song hovering and I know I pick up the guitar and boom. And usually my best stuff comes it's all together. It just I might be babbling some lyrics that I go back later and say, "Oh, that's what I was talking about,"
Right.
or
I hear
maybe
that.
this is bringing me here. But I don't start. I don't do it as a calculated thing. Like, okay, I'm going to write a song now about this particular subject, and it just comes to me. It is so out of the blue that it is something that I don't even know if I want to understand it.
I don't either. I agree
It's a
100%.
I mean, I've heard other people talk. Like I know songwriters who work in Nashville, where you go in and you have to write a song that day. This is your job. It's
Right.
a publishing deal, and they sit there for hours and say, okay, it's whatever. There's a subject on the table, and then they start writing about it. Just the thought of that it might be my ADHD. I don't know what it is, but just the thought of it makes me cringe. I would get bored with that.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking for that if my antenna is up and there's a song hovering. Case in point, I wrote a song called "When We Go Home Again." It came to me complete music and lyrics and it's about the fantasy of going back home again. Like I want to go back to 1966 and see my family and my friends, and so it was a fantasy song, and I wrote it. There's a line that says, "And my dad will be there. His hair will be thick. He'll show me some chords and how to hold a pick, and he won't get older and he won't get sick when we go home again." And
I
I wrote the
love it.
tune and I
Yeah.
was like, oh man, this is it was his birthday.
That's the day you came to?
Yep. I wasn't even thinking about it. It was like, wow, it's his birthday today,
That's
man.
beautiful. Yeah.
So then so you've both written music and so you know that thing, when it just something falls
Comes
into
right
you.
in your
You can
lap.
there are other things songs I've worked on for a long time, that finally you've finished them up. But I love the best ones are the ones that just come to you like that. And it's out of the blue and it is something that's mysterious and beautiful and I feel fortunate to be a part of that. I really do, you
Yeah.
know.
And it's like we sharpen our antennas. That's when you live your life for year after year after year, and part of your life is to come up with music. It doesn't become a chore. It becomes something like you have to do, right? It's not like I mean have to do it like a chore wise. It's just that you need to. It's like if you don't do it, you get all bottled up inside, you know? Even if you write crappy stuff, you just
Yeah,
got to get it out. Keep the channels open, you know?
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
otherwise you'll get all backed up. But I wrote a song
Yeah.
about my dad after he died, and that was called "Only the Good Times Last Forever." And he came to me. I was dreaming, and I was dreaming that I was watching the Gary Shandling show, and Gary Shandling starts to sing this song. Well, And as he's doing that, first of all, my father's in this dream, and he's in the kitchen, and he's all dressed in white, like, and he looks really good compared to the way he did when he died. He looked healthy, right? And I saw him in the kitchen. He's making breakfast. I'm going, Dad, what are you making? You can't make breakfast. You're dead. What are you doing? He just nods and keeps making breakfast. And then this Gary Shandling in my
Oh man.
dream starts singing the song, Only the Good Times Last Forever. And then it dawns on me, that's what my father's telling me, that that was one of the good times we had. He would get up on Sunday morning or Saturday morning and make us breakfast. And I still get chills when I think about it because it was one of those times that lasts forever in my memory. And that's what I said, wow. And then I tried to transcribe that song right then and there. It did come all together. It did come all together.
Yeah.
And that song has actually done some things to my life that are also out of the blue. Like I remember a big lawyer that someone turned me on to that had got me into the door with the labels and stuff, that I was still doing that. And he loved that song. He listened to it on the plane ride home, and he said, "Oh my God, I thought of my dad. I'm going home to see my dad in the hospital," and it touched him. And I remember playing a gig, some guy coming up to me saying, that song you sang about your dad, my brother, and I thought about, so it's helped people. Like, and that was
Yeah.
and your song, Come Home Again. It's very great because that's one of those songs that it brings healing to people. That sentiment is so seriously powerful, it really is. So let's get into these, your journey as far as, you were down in yourself. You never did another job at music, and you were facing that, oh my God, moment, that a lot of us face,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I should say that that depression uh, ran a little bit in my family as well, and uh, I mean, just different parts of the family, different people had different struggles that were emotional and mental.
yep,
And as a child, there wasn't back in those days. There weren't words for things a lot of time. Like there are today. There weren't. Uh, what's the matter with you? Like what. I used to have a thing I used to call an unknown sadness,
hmm,
where it would come over me, and sometimes I'd weep, sometimes I'd just feel sad, but I couldn't explain. It wasn't, and nothing had happened in particular. So, you start to make things up. If you're a kid, if you're a young person, you're going, why do I feel this way? Is there something wrong with me? Or maybe something, you start coming up with all kinds of stuff, basically, without, I don't want take too much time in that place. I believe that I have depression. In fact, I was diagnosed with major depression. Major depression. It was a cycle thing. It would come and go. There
okay,
was a word for it. I can't remember it right now. And it was a disorder. And this was later in life, not when I was a child. So I went through all these years with depression, and as I got older, it got worse. Sometimes depression is physical, and you don't know why. You just want to just sit there and sleep all day. You're not lazy. You're not. It's physical.
right,
So I had bouts with that, my whole life. And so uh, I had the major depression. So they put me on a medication. This medication helped a little bit, except I blew up to I was just under 400 pounds.
yep, that stuff does that, yeah,
Talk about depressed,
yeah,
I mean, I couldn't,
right,
not only could I not tie my shoe, I couldn't see it. Oh,
That's
that
so
was
you,
good. That was like a rim
it
shot
was
right there.
yeah.
Oh
Tip
man.
tip
But
it up,
wow.
tip yourself, tip it up. There you go, perfect. That was a rim shot. It was.
Yeah, your camera went down to show us your shoe.
Yeah, see, I couldn't even see my shoes, but wow. And so so dealing with the depression over the years. So at this one point I got off the medication and both a couple of things happened. I was in a depressive state. The music business, you know how it goes. Some years are really good and sometimes it's not. I was coming up maybe on 40 years with the Stompers, 4 decades.
Yep.
And I've been writing new music, but there was no platform for it, and so that was weighing on me. I decided to stop playing, and I, I don't know why. I don't know what made me think that would be a good idea. So just going back to what we were talking about earlier, Vernon, at the height of the Stompers, like the 80s, the height of the band, my father would say to me, the airport is hiring in case you want to get a job. And I'd be like, Dad, I'm I'm the Stompers.
Yeah,
You know
right.
what I mean?
Get
Like,
out of
be
town,
like,
right?
I'm never gonna need anything,
I get
Oh
it.
God love him. It's true. I bet you your dad
Oh,
told you that,
my
didn't he,
dad was
Vernon?
well. He,
No, he told
I,
your son that
I might have
too.
told this guy, but
Yeah,
my dad was gone by the time I was 17. But my mom was like
yeah,
all over me, like Sass was doing great and everything. She was saying, you want to take that post office exam to have something to fall back on. I said, Mom, give me a break, will you?
yeah.
Take the
Oh
post
man,
office
they
exam.
meant well,
Yeah, of course.
but we were on a mission. So the depression had gotten so bad, and I said I'm not going to play out anymore. Uh, I took a job in the substance abuse field, but I was running a songwriters group, like so.
Like therapy.
So all these people who are in, yeah,
That's
and
great
we'd
therapy.
come up with a subject and we'd write about it. Although I did get a lot of fulfillment out of doing that job, there's a lot to working in that field that is a real drag. Uh, the business end of it. You see people not getting treatment because of insurance, or they act it out and they're going to get thrown out. And I couldn't. That part of it was just not me. I didn't want any part of that. I loved the people, and I loved sharing with them and writing music and hearing about what they had coming back, but the rest of it was a real drag. And so I sunk down deeper and deeper. I would drive to work and I'd be like, I don't want to. I can't even go in, and I'd sit outside weeping and listening to some music on the radio, and I'm being like, oh, I'm not doing the right thing. I'm not doing the right thing. I should be doing something else. So one day, in the midst of all of that, I'm working, my cell phone goes off and it says Sony Pictures. And I'm like, I mean, I haven't got a clue. I'm
Right,
like,
right.
and and I answer it, and the voice says, I'm looking for Sal Baglio. This is he. Uh, did you write American Fun, the song American Fun? And do you own the rights to it? All this stuff. And I'm like, yeah. He says, Adam Sandler wants to use it in his movie. And I said, who is this? You know what I mean? Is this Vernon? Like this
Yeah.
is this is a musical friend of mine
You're being
somewhere going
pranked.
like, yeah, I'm gonna mess with Sal. They used the song that I wrote when I was still living at home I wrote that song. I was a teenager still, American Fun, and and 40 years later, somebody wanted to use it in their movie,
That's wonderful.
and that was really it was really it took me out of it. It was out of the blue, and I'll tell you, Adam's people were the nicest people. So there's a little backstory to it, and that is that a gentleman by the name of John Philbrick used to be a roadie for the Stompers
Uh-huh.
in the early 80s. He went out to California and he was working for Happy Madison, which was Adam's company. So so Adam was shooting the movie in New Hampshire, and he was asking about other acts from Massachusetts. He had Giles in there, and I think maybe Robin Lane had a song in there. Whatever, he was looking for local music, and my friend, this guy John said, I used to work for a band called the Stompers. If he fell in love with American Fun, it's the closer to the movie.
I saw it. That's where I saw it. Yeah.
It's yeah,
Which movie?
and Grown Ups. It's called.
Oh, okay.
It's
The
Adam
first Grown
Sandler
Ups.
film, Grown Ups. Yeah.
He did a couple
Um,
of them.
and then, and through Adam, I met Brooks Arthur, who was his musical. He was his producer, and he's since passed away. But Brooks Arthur was a recording engineer and record producer way back in the early 60s. He produced Society's Child by Janis Ian and some other great tunes out of the 60s. I'm trying to remember what they are right now. And so through Adam, I met Brooks, and Brooks he was just really, because I was asking him questions. How do I get my other songs in movies? But he was really, really kind to me, and as Adam was. And then he ended up using two more songs in Grown Ups 2. Honestly, I've never heard them, but they're in there because I get the
You get
I
the
get
check.
the ASCAP thing that says it, but yeah, that was really something, man. I feel blessed, you know. It's a strange thing when something good happens, you know. Uh
Yeah. A lot of times it's harder to handle than bad things because it can screw your mind up a little bit.
wow, it's like, okay, something good happened. That means something bad's going to happen. That's how I've gone through my whole life. That is the sound and the thought of depression.
Yeah, it is.
That what I just said to you, something beautiful happens out the blue, and the depressed brain goes, something bad's coming.
That's what it says. Yeah,
It's
it says
coming,
that.
man.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to enjoy this because I got to get ready for this horrible thing.
I think it's something to do with out of the blue things that's what I think what we learned from this phenomenon is that first of all, we don't have any control over it. So, like Shakespeare says, there's nothing good or bad, only thinking makes it so. So, we just have to look at it like, okay, stuff is happening. All I have to do is show up, right? And enjoy it. And that's it. And then when something bad happens, well, I just got to take it one day at a time and do what I got to do to deal with it. And I'm going to learn from it. I look at it like that now. I think I look at everything that happens to me out of the blue, whether it's good or bad, that I'm going to have to, it's a learning experience. I'm getting ready for a learning experience. That isn't always a comfortable feeling. That's me. That's my depression starting up because, I'm going back to school again. This is it. Like my uncle said to me the day I went to talk to him after my uncle was a kind of connected guy in the North End. And after we got ripped off, my mother sent me to go talk to
Oh,
Uncle Louie. Okay. And
yeah.
Uncle Louie says, I told him what happened. He says, he gets real quiet. He goes, Vernon, call it a $50,000 lesson. You don't want to get involved with those guys. They'll be in your life forever and your life will be miserable. So you just got to write it off. I'm sorry. That's what you got to do. So that was like a huge lesson, right? Oh
Oh
my
yeah.
God. There was no, vengeance is mine, says the higher power, says the Lord. And I leave it into that hands,
Yeah.
whatever people, whatever did things, you got your equipment stolen. I did too. And
Oh yeah.
so have many musicians had their equipment stolen. And I remember, I'll never forget, we used to sneak into the Orpheum shows as I was a 15-year-old kid. And one show we're trying to get into, The Who was playing, and we're going trying to get in the fire escape, right? And out of the door of the stage comes running Keith Moon, and he runs and he stops and he ends on the stairs and he starts crying, and we're going, "What's up, Keith?" He goes, "Somebody stole the effing guitar, man. They think we're making money with this bastard. They don't know that they're killing us and they're hurting us. They steal our guitar. They stole it." He's freaking out about it. I'm going like, holy crap. Wow. That was a
Yeah.
real lesson
Whoever
in
you
rock and
are.
roll.
Yeah.
And here's my
Yep.
God. I mean, I thought of Keith Moon as like a god, but
Absolutely.
he was a person, very much so. God rest his soul. Great drummer too.
Years later, we played there together.
Yes, we did. And we were probably, we didn't get anything stolen that day, but they probably had eyes on the thing. I'm going to get that stiff.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were making a list. I want that guitar. I want that.
Yeah, yeah. We had a mutual love and respect for each other, and that wasn't an easy thing to do. When you're younger,
Oh my God. Competition is
I've had
crazy.
this conversation before. When you're younger, your band is your gang, and you sort of build a wall around you so that nobody can. You don't want anybody to be better than you. That's a beautiful thing that in my old age now, I'm so happy when I hear a great artist, you know, where I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. That's great what you're doing. I can do that and not feel like threatened by it. As a young man, unfortunately, it could be like that sometimes.
So Vernon's out in LA. How's the competition out there, Vernon? I think they have it's pretty cool. My son talks to me. You tell me it's a little more of a community. Like they support each other, the bands, right? Vernon? It's a little different out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's always like competition, I think, among people, and like you hear people kind of like talking about, oh, this band, oh, we gotta play with them, or but I mean, we try to make a scene, like I'm in a band, so that like a lot of the bands that I play with start becoming buddies, and like it doesn't seem like it's helpful at all to be like, like negative and then kind of try to be an island out here. You need to like you need help from other people. Um, but every now and then, like, well, you like run into certain characters that like have really big egos, and like they're usually pretty good, but they'll just like have like a really big ego where like I remember one guy specifically, I like went up to him after a show and I was like, yo, like you are such a great singer, man. Like you like your band, you guys really kick ass. And he like didn't even like look at me kind of vibe. And I just remember getting such a weird bad taste in my mouth. And then all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, I guess he kind of had a chip on his shoulder. And then it turns out that was like up something a lot of people felt. And then he ended up kind of like burning bridges and leaving his band, and like people kind of turned their back on him because he had that like demeanor. So it is sort of refreshing to see like people, we don't if you're in it for the music, you are joyful and you're like gonna appreciate those compliments, and people are gonna like sniff out if you're doing it to like feed your narcissism kind of. So that's kind of like it's like checks and balances, I guess. I mean, I'm sure it was probably the same. Like you got to be. I hear this a lot. You've got to be talented, but you've also got to be a good hang. Like you gotta be able to like, I don't know,
That
not
that had something to do with it. It definitely did.
Yeah.
But
I will definitely say though, I am I think I'm in that phase still where like I wish I could be a little more like not threatened. And don't get me wrong, I know this is not the correct mindset, but like it feels almost like, oh, I'm never gonna be that good. Oh, like well, I just gotta like focus on my own thing because that person is so good at what they do, and I'm over here in my little, you know, shack just trying to find food to live and they're so successful and they're so good. And then when people pop off and they're really young, I'm like, oh, I'm so old. Like my prime is past. It's so I definitely struggle with like
You're
that those
hurting me, Vernon. You're hurting
I
me.
know.
no, but I mean like I
Me
feel like
too. Me too.
I feel like that's just something that like you will kind of get over. I mean, I'm hoping I'm working on it, but I also deal with these depressive thoughts too, personally. So I think it is kind of like it's just like the little gremlin in your mind that tries to keep bringing you down, and it's like the counter force to the out of the blue muse. I like to think of it as like a muse, which is super corny, but like
No.
it's like you
Okay.
have the muse that's like pulling you this way and like giving you, it's like telling you to let go. And then that's when you open up your channels to receive like really authentic music. And then you got the voice in your head that's like, how is that? What is that? That's not a science. You can't do that all the time. What if that never happens again? And then
Mm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So
He's got a
I'm
million
I'm
of
going
them.
off I'm going off on a tangent here, but it's
No, but
definitely beneficial to have friends that support you and create a community, you know?
When I think back, Sal, and the days we were coming up, it was neighborhoods. Bands were almost the representative of their neighborhood.
oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you were like the
Yeah,
East
not so
Boston
much here
kids.
anymore. I
No,
mean,
it's
not
not
so
like
much
that.
anymore because the
No,
internet.
Yeah, the
that's
internet's
right.
dissolved
It,
neighborhoods.
yeah,
Yeah.
the internet's dissolved a lot of different things. But yeah, I mean, like the music scene,
Quite a
the
number.
music scene at that point in time. I mean, we had to go print up a flyer and go put it outside the rat.
Right.
Monday night, Sass and the Stompers are playing. That was it. You didn't go on on any internet or something.
You
That's
would,
how you let
Yeah.
people know. Later on, if you had a mailing list, that was pretty
oh
heavy. You know
boy,
what
that
I
was
mean?
heavy duty. Yeah.
You
Whoa,
know, but
emails.
yeah, I want to get back to something though, Vernon, that you
Oh,
were saying because so
yeah.
the voice, that voice will always kind of be there. You know, the one that says, am I good enough? But that's okay. It's okay sometimes to like to be hungry and competitive in a way that's not harmful to yourself or others, mostly to yourself.
Hmm.
And for me personally, I had to, I don't know if I learned it or what happened, but I had to learn something called humility. And it's most people think, oh, humility, you felt bad and you were humiliated. No, no, no. Humility, I'm 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 good at this. These are the things I'm good at. So when I meet somebody else who's good, maybe they're really good, it's okay because I got my thing.
Hmm.
And I know what I'm good at. I know what I would like to be better at. And hey, listen, I wasn't like this at 18, 19 years old or 20 years old, maybe not even at 30. It took me a while to find this thing, or maybe it found me
Yep.
out of the blue.
Out of the
You
blue.
know,
That's
Roll
right.
I'm
credits.
serious. No, I'm very serious about that. I
I
mean,
agree. I feel that
I
way.
hope that didn't go down the wrong
No, that
thing or come off the wrong
No,
way.
no,
But
no.
no.
but
Right in tune
you
with
you
it.
know you know that you've got a gift,
Yeah.
and you honor that gift and you take care of it. I mean, I don't know if we need to go down this road, Vernon. I mean, I'm sure there
No,
were
that's
some
okay. Keep
years where
going.
you and I didn't
Yeah,
take care of the gift,
no,
by going in other directions or whatever,
yeah,
And so if you
that's okay.
don't,
My
you,
son knows I was always not always a good boy.
yeah, yeah,
Good
but
boy. You were a mess. No, I'm kidding.
I was a mess.
You
No, I
talking about like
drugs and
sort of
alcohol.
booze and
Yeah.
and drugs?
well,
Yeah.
that and just behaviors or just acting out,
Yeah,
or
maybe. Yeah.
My dad's infamous nose job.
What happened? I didn't get a nose job.
No, I mean, didn't you get socked in the
Oh,
face or
right.
something?
I got punched. The first time I
oh boy,
actually drank with a bunch of kids, I was like 16. And
Oh, you were young. Never
and I
mind.
was over some kid's house and we were all drunk. The first time I was ever drunk. The next thing I know, I see a TV flying across the room. So I said, well,
oh
I
boy,
got to get out of here. There's a fight is breaking out. And I get up and someone suckered me and broke my nose
oh,
across the side of my face. And then I go home, my dad looks at me and goes, what the heck happened to you? He, and next morning I go to the Mass General and I'm laying on a table and they go, you know how much force it took to break that nose? And I go, yeah, it's going to take that much to put it back.
oh baby,
And you know what they did? They stuck all these Q-tips with cocaine. They
with
had
pharmaceutical cocaine.
pharmaceutical cocaine. Like there was a
This is the
hundred,
origin story.
there was a, there was about 50 of these Q-tips up my nose and my face is
Ooh,
numb.
baby.
And my face is numb, right? And they're coming over to me, and I'm laying there, and they're going, "All right, Vernon, get ready." And they pull up the things, and they take a pliers like a curved. He sticks them up my nose, and he goes, and one guy's holding my hand, the other guy's we hear the sound, and then they
Oh,
say, "Okay," and they bring a mirror over, right? And they say, "How's that?" I go, "A little to the left." Swear to God. And when I walked out of there with the nose thing all stuffed up and a brace on me, I think my feet never touched the ground, man. It was my first time on pharmaceutical cocaine. Boy, oh boy,
yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
something else, man.
Uh-huh.
I didn't
Yeah.
know how bad I would not want to have that feeling later on in life because I didn't have it for many years, another 10 years before I tried the other stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I mean, that's all. But to me, it was like inspiration. I don't know if I really felt animosity to anybody. I did feel competitive, definitely, because it becomes like a sport, and it really
Yeah,
is
yeah,
a
yeah.
sport.
Healthy competition is
Yeah,
good. Keeps you,
I think so. I think that's what made the Boston scene pretty great back then, is because there was the bunch of bands kind of competing and setting the bar higher and higher for each other.
I mean, that night that we were 20 years old playing at the Orpheum, I think it was us. I don't know. I forget if did the
No,
Fools play too. It was
um,
you. It was us. It was the Stompers, Sass, James Montgomery, Giles, and maybe another band. I forget. But
I
you
think that's
know,
what I think that was it. I think that was
you
it.
got to be on your A+ game. You know what I mean? That's how you got to do it. You got to go out and say, I got a running joke with Mike Gerard from the Fools. I said, we always wanted to go on before you guys because it gives us our A+ game. We feel a little bit more. We needed to work a little harder. So that when we left the stage, they remembered who was there.
Right, right.
And it's a
That was
thing
a
in
yeah.
stand-up too, where like
Oh
no one wants
yeah.
to go on after the guy who kills because then the audience is like, all right, you better bring it. And then the vibe is different and they have to work harder. That is
Oof.
like, you know, something I have also thought of and dealt with other bands.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you got to bring it. And then if you're opening
Absolutely.
for someone who's big, no, not in a negative way, but I think it's always beneficial to try to play better than them. Not better, but like try to like bring the best show. Because you wanna try to be like, I don't know, unforgettable. You're not gonna be if you're opening for a band that's like on that's touring and all their fans are there, they're probably going to get the better response or whatever. It's fine.
Oh yeah, you get that teaches you how to take a punch though. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure. No, I'm serious. We opened for people like the Jay Giles band. We went on tour with them, and that was good because we had a rock band that was similar to that, right? But then we would get dates like, okay, you guys are going to open for Roxy Music tonight, and we just got booed the whole time. Booed. Just get off. We hate you, because we're up there going, let's rock, whatever we were singing about. And
Right.
Roxy Music was they're an arty kind of,
Uh-huh.
different bag. Nothing against them,
Right.
but the
Course
audience
not.
was. So you learn how to take a punch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how you do it. You could go home and say that's I'm never going to do that again, or you just get back up and you do it. But yeah, well, I've got a lot of those stories.
I
And,
growing up was more like the most like that. Like, Dad, do you remember when I would play like VFWs or like churches,
Yep.
and I would go up with my like singer-songwriter band, and we'd play like, like little catchy pop rock tunes because I was super inspired by my dad's music, and like I was always playing I was grew up playing like some classic covers, and like I was like I want to write fun songs. I'm sick of these like Metallica songs. I don't know.
yeah,
But then I
yeah,
would
yeah.
play all these like pop rock songs, and then I'd have my four friends and my girlfriend like singing along, and then we got the stage, and then the guys with the big gauges in their ears and like they'd come on with their heavy screamo band. And it was like I felt like everyone kind of like talked smack about us, and then immediately it was like the heaviest band you've ever heard in your life. So like there was a lot when I was young of just like like the shit talking and like the booing and like
Mm.
oh it was that was tough. That definitely taught me resilience.
Yeah.
For sure. That doesn't really
A-
happen anymore because, you find your crowds. It's a little different, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Absolute.
Just
Listen,
find your audience.
absolutely,
So,
yeah,
absolutely.
kind of getting back to our show here because we've been having a great conversation
this
about
is the
so
show,
many,
damn it.
so many things. I know it is the show, damn it. So we're talking about so many great things that really everything is out of the blue. We are talking about out of the blue stuff, and
I
you
was
told that
also we won't go there
go
now,
anywhere you
but
want,
I
but
wanted to no, I wanted to share with you about the death of my mother,
oh boy,
which was yeah. I'm going to give you the brief thing. So my mom was in a nursing home last couple of years of her life, and this one particular night she'd fallen and hit her head. Now, she had done that a few times previously and always was okay. This time, we get a call. She has a brain bleed. Do you want us to go in? And she's 95. No, don't. I don't want to put her through that. 5 a.m. I get a call. You need to come. Your mom's is going to pass away. Uh, so you should get here as soon as you can. My beautiful wife and I, God love her. I was a wreck. We go into Beth Israel Hospital. My mother's in an emergency room, and she's unconscious. And I go in and I, weep and start talking to her and saying a few different things I wanted to tell her. And once again, they told me to come in. She's going to pass away. A little while later, a nurse comes in and says, okay, we're going to send her back to the nursing home. And I was, what are you talking about? Well, she could go now, in 2 hours or 2 days. I was just dumbfounded. I didn't know what to think. She gets back to the nursing home, and I figure she's going to be in bed unconscious the whole time. she wakes up. She wakes up and she looks at me and she says, God, she goes, this is a nice place.
Oh,
She was in the same place she's been in for a couple of years, but between the headbang and probably the trauma of the night before and all that, she thinks she's in a different place. I said, okay. The next day, she's up in a wheelchair, and I'm talking with her like this, having coffee. I'm like, Ma, how you doing? I'm good. And the next few days, I was able to speak with her. Some of it was memory stuff, talking about uh, growing up and different funny things making her laugh. And then little by little, she would sleep. And that kind of took over the next 12 days or so, where she would just be sleeping and she wouldn't get, and eventually she didn't wake up again. And I went in one afternoon and played some songs for her, you know. I played Lovely Rita because Rita was her name.
wow.
And then a few other things, you know, that meant something to her. And she never regained consciousness, but she did squeeze my hand. And so that was really quite a thing to have happen. At first, I was very angry that they told me she was going to pass away and she didn't, because I had kind of wrapped my head around that a little bit, you know, like, okay, so she's gone. I'm sad. I'm mourning. And then she came back, and I was a little angry that they had told me that that's what was going to happen to her. But in the end, it was a gift.
A gift, absolutely.
It was a gift because I got to sit with her, you know. Um, one of the most intense things that happened between us, it was just her and I. And I said to her, I said, Ma, I said, do you forgive me for any time that I might have made you frightened or angry while growing up? And she looked at me and she said, well, that goes both ways.
Wow. That's something beautiful.
Did she ever anger or frighten me when I was a child? Maybe, but that's neither here or there. I think what she was saying is, I forgive you, you forgive me, we're okay.
It's beautiful.
The
Yeah.
circle
The
is
circle's
okay.
complete. Yeah.
That's yeah, that's what I got from it. It was really probably the up to now the heaviest moment I've ever had in my life. You know.
That's a beautiful thing that happens out of the blue. Really, really an unbelievable pleasure and honor to get to know you, Sal, and and have you welcome you to the Out of the Blue family. So
Oh, thank you.
we'll be doing this. We're going to be, you know, once a you know what family's like. We don't go away.
No.
So
No, we make the gravy on Sunday and you come over.
that's it. Maybe on Sunday. But
This is
anyways,
this is it's been wonderful. Thanks for having me, and Vernon, nice to meet you again.
You
Even
too,
if
man.
even if we met a couple of times before, this is nice, man. So good luck
Yeah.
out there, my friend.
Thank
You
you.
know,
it,
Appreciate it. It means a
yeah,
lot.
yes, and
absolutely,
who knows? We may share some music together because
absolutely,
And I
that's
hope so,
absolutely.
I
because
really do
we got
hope
a
so.
guitarist, bassist, and drummer sitting right here. So
Right here, the
stomp
trio,
to
right here.
West.
Yeah.
Stomp, Stomp West.
Oh yeah, that's what
No.
we need to do is go
Yeah.
back to that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for everybody for joining us here on Out of the Blue, the podcast. And this is Sal Baglio and my son Vernon III. And boy, oh boy, what a great podcast episode this has been. Please smash that like button and follow and get the word out there so more people will share their Out of the Blue stories and we can get this world flying straighten up and fly right.
When the clock strikes backwards and you're spinning round and you wake up back in your
Out of the Blue, the podcast, hosted by me, Vernon West, co-hosted by Vernon West III, edited by Joe Gallo, music and logo by Vernon West III. Have an Out of the Blue story of your own you'd like to share? Reach us at info@outoftheblue-thepodcast.org. Subscribe to Out of the Blue on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and on our website, outoftheblue-thepodcast.org. You can also check us out on Patreon for exclusive content.